That was retarded.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting all funned out.
Uh-oh.
Don't tell me. We're about to review Halo 5.
Yep.
Fanboy Rage in the comments?
Most likely.
Bring it on.
Booyah! Woo!
We're done. We just got done.
I felt like it was sitting it through a 2 times over SAT test. Oh my god.
You have to force yourself through it. I had
Yeah.
to as well. That last mission.
It's just like an SAT test. You finish it so early, and then you have to sit and wait for everything else to get done. Oh.
It's not... The game isn't bad.
Actually, no, fuck it. It is bad.
Okay.
It is bad.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a fair review. From somebody that plays Halo often, yes, it's bad. It's really bad compared to the other games.
But that's still compared to Halo.
Yeah, but if you compare it to a couple other games that I would consider really bad, it actually does pretty well.
Right?
I mean,
They had misleading hype to me. It was completely misleading. And, a lot of people bought it for this dynamic of Master Chief versus Locke, or could Master Chief be the bad guy in this time? Could Cortana's death have pushed him over that edge? And it's basically that question, that entire hype is answered within the first 4 missions.
and I wouldn't be mad at it if it was just a bad game. It's what they do that screws over their entire fan base, and it's just horrible. I mean, these microtransactions, the hype that had just no substance to it once you got to the game. This feels like an intentional middle finger to the entire fan base that had played any other game besides Halo 4 or 5. And Halo 4, I never liked Halo 4 either, but at least it was interesting to play.
Right. I mean, you didn't have to force yourself through a mission. It felt pretty good to play. And here it's just, you don't have that. You have... Because I think the villain makes Chief more interesting.
Yeah.
And so when you make the character that you focus on least more interesting than the character you focus on the most, you continuously ask yourself, what's Chief going to go through? What's Chief going to go through? And since they never answer that question, you get more frustrated as the game makes you play as Locke. And I honestly think that's probably the biggest detriment the game has.
There was no emotion in this game either. You would expect when Master Chief got there that, and I get it, he's a Spartan, he's not supposed to feel emotion to an extent, but you could see at the end of Halo 4 his to Cortana dying. Now, with this new whole plot, he doesn't seem like she's come back. You would think that he'd be in emotional turmoil, but he's not. He seems like he's completely fine with going up and smashing her console and then ripping her out and killing her.
Right.
But no.
Even Warden says, like, hey, when you do that, are you going to feel remorse? Like, he even asked that very question. Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
He actually asked that.
Oh.
And so, no, I think personally, since they don't focus on Chief enough, like, that's a dead set concrete, they don't do it enough. And I was okay with the dynamic of having a game where Chief was a side character. I was okay when I heard that because I thought they were going to focus on what they had hyped up. This dynamic of Chief could be the bad guy, and this chase between Locke and Master Chief. But then when the game comes out again, 4 missions in, it's resolved. I mean, sure, they're still chasing him, but you know why they're chasing him. You can see the resolution up ahead.
Scooby-Doo chases have more character than this. Oh, and let me get to this. Locke has no character at all. Nobody cares about Locke. Nobody likes Locke. Even if you dig into the lore, he's not that important or care.
Yeah.
Like you don't care about him at all. The Halo, the assault rifle has more character than Locke does. I like the assault rifle more than him.
That's very that actually sums it up pretty well. You don't have a feeling for Locke. They don't flesh out his character. And every opportunity they do have this opportunity where he finds out he has to hunt Chief. But instead of having an emotional or characterization response, he's just another target. And you just got told you're hunting down the savior of humanity not once, not twice, but 3 times, at least if we follow the games, and you have no reaction.
And the other thing is, he's static but dynamic. It's really confusing, because if you go into the lore, he absolutely hates the Sangheili. He hates the elites. But then, when it talks about it, when you get into the game, outside of the books and everything, and they ask, oh, you used to have a plan to assassinate the Arbiter, and he's like, well, things have changed. But he never really delves into why or anything really at all. But as you can see, from the start of the game to the end of the game, Locke is the same person. There's nothing different about him. There might have been differences between him in the lore and him in the game, but we don't see a change. We don't see a progression of the character.
And
every game, really, when you play as the main character, you want him to progress in some way.
it's become demanded in AAA games that a character will change through the course of an arc. And although Master Chief, the argument could be made he never really did, but the argument could also be made he never really had to, because he was actually bred from the early time where games were just starting to be able to do an in-depth story, and so everyone fell in love with this faceless hero, and so his character never had to change. But this character, you're introducing him so late in the game that he has to change. He has to have a progression. He has to have some sort of emotion. You can't just copy and paste Chief's character and expect it to stick.
What's even worse is some of the characters that are somewhat new, like Buck, who first came out in Halo 3 ODST, and also seen as a cameo in Reach. He's progressed more than Locke has, and you can actually see it throughout the game.
Yeah, he's not so much of a hard ass anymore. He's actually humorful. He's the humor of the game.
I figure if God can hear how scared I am, so can everyone else.
And if you look at the other games where Master Chief is the main character, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can see that he does kind of change. There is a little bit of dynamic character. He starts out in CE. You can see that he actually has more dialogue than in 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And he begins to get quieter and quieter, as if he's become more of just a pale soldier.
Right. Yeah, and I think that it does have... Yeah, you actually do bring up an interesting point, that throughout 4 games that have focused on Chief, and we've grown to love him even more and more since his inception. And not to mention all the books and comics if you get into those. But if we're just sticking with the games, in comparison to how Bungie handled the introduction of the Arbiter to the introduction of Locke. See, in Halo 2, they gave him sort of a half and half. You played as Master Chief maybe a little bit less than you played as Arbiter, but they gave the main character of Master Chief just as much screen time, if not just a little bit more, than Arbiters. They respected that. Here, it's like they just wanted Chief out of the way, but they knew they had to have him in there.
The other thing is that when they introduced Arbiter, through the cutscenes and through just playing the game, you understood the relationship that he had with his fellow Sangheili and just how he became the Arbiter. With Locke, he just shows up. He's just, oh, it's Locke. He's the main character. Have fun. Go kill Covenant and random robots. The Covenant were better to kill. They were more gratifying because you realize that they were out to kill the entire human race. The Prometheans are just sitting there defending Forerunner artifacts, and the Didacs, yes, they were attacking us, but to a less extent than what the Covenant would be doing.
Right.
If you look at games like Mass Effect, the Reapers, they're out to kill you. They're out to completely wipe the galaxy of all organic life. You get kind of gratified with killing them. And Cerberus, you want to kill them.
Yeah, because they're bastards.
The Prometheans, they're just robots. I have no emotion killing them at all.
You bring up a very good point. I think maybe one of the last things that really happened is why? Why did they focus on this Locke versus Chief dynamic? But then when the game came out, it was, instead of is Chief going to be the bad guy, it's will Chief join Cortana and become a bad guy? And they answer it in the second Chief mission, 4 missions in. He says why he's there. He says why he's reaching out to Cortana. It's to bring her home. That's it. And so that's it. The mystery's solved. 4 missions in. And then when you go back to Locke and he's still wanting to just rush to Chief to stop him. Don't they say like multiple times, like, we gotta stop Chief, we have to get to Chief, that kind of stuff. You realize there's no point. There's no point to do it because you know Chief's gonna do the right thing. and it doesn't show that Chief needs help until the last Chief mission, which is ironically the second to last mission of the game. So getting there isn't that much of a rush.
Here's one of the problems with just how this game, the story works, is in a first-person game, you are the character, so you know everything the character knows. It kind of blindsided me when it came up and he's like, "We've come to help you." He just runs up and he has his hands up. Locke's like, "We've come to help you, Master Chief." And I'm like, I thought you were coming to like, I thought you were gonna throw a suit, that little thing.
Yeah, the little thing, the
little
suit disruption thing,
yeah,
the lockdown thing.
The shield disruptor or whatever. And
that short circuit thing.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
I would have known that if I was the character. I should have known that he was going to go up and not attack Chief. There should have been a scene right before he came up, like right before the doors opening, like. And someone like say Tanaka gets out the disabler and Locke goes, "No, put it away. We'll just talk to him," or something like that.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't take much, but
I think another thing was they didn't even try to hide it. They really didn't. From the first mission, you hear Captain Lasky say, "What is it? Like 4 colonies or 7 colonies have experienced the same event."
Fire Team Osiris. Over the last 72 hours, 5 colonies have experienced identical events.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second mission, Chief is not gone AWOL. So you know immediately Chief isn't responsible. And then in that second mission, they reveal who the villain is. And that to me is not only discouraging, it's also, it kind of ruins the game. It ruins what all that hype was. It ruins what, I guess what people were expecting, especially what I was expecting. And that makes the campaign as a whole feel lackluster, even if it did have good dynamics. I mean, I did like the Arbiter's Civil War. I did like how we actually assisted the Arbiter there, even if it was arbitrary.
And I know this isn't an RPG. I get it. People don't play it just for the story. But in Halo, just because it's an FPS doesn't mean it's not about story. Look at ODST again. It was about finding out the truth. It was finding out what happened, and I mean, there were side missions and just all kinds of character progression and things. And if you look at a game like Mass Effect, again, I'm a big fan of Mass Effect, when you go into the Civil War between the Geth and the Quarians, you get a lot of context for it. You get why it's happening and you know, how to fix it and everything. But when you get into the Civil War with the Arbiter, you have no context as to why, and I presume you find it out by finding these random little intel items. That's really cheap. That's a really cheap way of doing it. What that translates to is, I'm too lazy to give you the story, so find it out yourself.
And like, look, I understand that maybe the books explained all this, that maybe if you read the books, everything's explained and this story is a million times better for you. But the fact remains that this is a game and that the story should be able to be told within that game. You should
at least, at the minimum, be able to comprehend what's going on. I could not comprehend what's going on, and I've read the books.
I still don't know a single attack besides that little pulse that a Guardian has when it's making its slip space jump. I know of no other features. I know of nothing else it does. I can presume that because it's Forerunner, it's very powerful and can take some hits. But I have no idea of its weapons. I have no idea how it polices a world. I have no idea how it's supposedly enforcing the mantle of responsibility, which also gets no explanation. I don't have any context for it, and I shouldn't have to go out and find a book that mentions it so that I get some context here. You should be able to tell me what's going on.
There's a lot of plot holes here, and I think 343 should have been aware. You think?
Yeah, they've had 2 years. They've had 2 years. And I think it would have been better if they just hid who the main villain was till like the end. If they had actually gone all out and made the audience think and made the audience believe that Chief was this bad guy, that Chief was responsible for all of these horrible events, and then maybe Master Chief activates a panel that Locke sees and the Guardian activates and he goes inside of it with Blue Team, and then you see Meridian get wasted or something, and you see it like activate and shoot laser whatever, and it like kills everyone, that maybe you could believe it. And then at the end, when the main villain is revealed, not only do you get a great cliffhanger, but you would have had an amazing reveal that would have had most Halo fans talking like, holy fuck. And, you know, I think they should have taken out that bit where they save Master Chief and like bring him back. I think he should have went with Cortana. to keep up that level of, holy shit, is Master Chief really helping her? Holy crap, And I think just that simple change would have made this game a lot better, and it would have kept the same mission structure. After discussing the campaign, what do you think after playing a couple hours of the multiplayer?
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Is this even Halo? God. Okay, everything that you do in Warzone is centered around paying money to do that.
Pretty much.
The only time I was able to play the game without paying money was in Arena. And Arena was bad. It was boring. I died right off the beginning.
Yeah, you immediately,
the maps are tiny.
You died, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not...
I mean, it is 4-on-4. It's meant for the MLG area, but then they replaced Big Team Battle with Warzone.
Ever utter those 3 letters.
MLG?
Ever again.
Never again?
Never again.
I like the gameplay. Like, the overall gameplay, it feels like Halo. You can get the sense where they were going for. All the improvements that they made to the HUD and the guns, it's all fluid, it's all necessary. I find that very good.
When you played Halo multiplayer, you started off with, your regular weapons. They kept that. You get your assault rifle, you get
your Magnum, assault rifle and Magnum back from CE.
But you never had to pay to have other guns, or
you didn't have to pay a slot machine to have the chance of using the weapons you wanted.
And the other thing is, they were always on the map.
Yeah.
Now, the only way that I was able to get it without paying on Warzone was by killing somebody else or picking up a gun that was theirs.
Right.
But I still don't think, if you have a power weapon and you're somewhat good at the game, you can keep that power weapon for a very long time in the game.
Yeah, or waste all of its ammo so no one else gets to use it.
So, yeah.
And you play the slot machine. That's the problem I have. Everyone, the defense of this is, you don't have to pay, you can use the in-game credits, and so thereby it's fine. You don't have to do anything else, so it's justified. And I don't agree. I don't agree at all. I think that's a bullshit defense, because if you pay more money, you'll have more cards. If you have more cards, you have more vehicles. You have more vehicles, you have more opportunity, you have more fun. So yes, if you pay money, you do get an advantage, and you do have more fun. And I think that defeats it. I think that ultimately defeats it. Mm-hmm. Any defense for it. And this is obviously not for the players. This microtransaction system is not for players. It is for business. It's to make money. Now, what do you think about... do you think them giving out all their DLC for free, do you think that makes up for it at all?
No, not at all. In fact, I think it's just a way for us for them to distract the audience, to distract the gamers from the anal rape that they're giving to us.
Right.
They are not using any lube. What the free DLC is spit. It's spit. That's what it is. It makes it less painful. Yeah, it's less painful, but it's still bad. No, I didn't mean it like that.
I know what you're meaning.
But
but yeah, I get your point. It's not. No, it's not there. And you know what's probably worse is that they're gonna add more armors and more helmets that you need to play the whole slot machine to get. So it's going to be a continuation, it's going to be an expansion on their whole microtransaction system, and it's not going to be a deviation away from it. If you think this is the that you only get 175 armor sets and you only get 175 armor helmets, and that they're not going to add any more with this new free DLC, you're kidding yourself. It's an easy way to continue them to milk in the money.
Yep.
So if you want a certain armor set right now, you will have less chances when the free DLC comes out of actually getting that armor set. So you need to bust your ass right now to get it, and then you just need to hunker down and let this wave of DLC come out, and then try again and start up, because you're paying a quarter of what you're probably going to end up having to pay to get everything later.
And the other thing about it is, when I played the other Halos, the paid for DLC was quality. It was good. It was good maps, but at the same time, you didn't have to have it.
Right.
You didn't have to have all these extra maps. Now, granted, there were a couple like Foundry and Sandbox that you really needed, and Foundry was free. I think Sandbox
Foundry was
I don't
know about Sandbox. And of course, they released ODST, which gave everyone the map packs. If you didn't have it, you picked up ODST, it came with it, and it was the multiplayer disc. Done.
And the thing is, I'd rather pay, because if you don't have to have it, and you can pay for it anyway, that's great, because then I don't have to pay money if I don't want to.
Right.
But I also, as a consumer, have the choice to pay for it, to buy it.
Did you have a significant challenge in Warzone? Did you think it was
it
worthwhile?
challenged me as a Halo player, but it wasn't impossible. I mean,
Right.
it was... against players, it was easy. When they threw in the boss battles, it kind of mixed things up a bit. I like what they're doing with it. They're taking a few hints from other games like Titanfall with the minions, basically the Marines guarding the points.
Right.
I like that. But like the microtransactions, you just can't get past them. They're really, honestly, the difficulty wasn't with the players or my skill. It was with this lottery system that I had no control over, and every time that I wanted to get something, like I'd pick random vehicle because the only option was ghost, mongoose, or random vehicle, I'd get some crap vehicle like a mongoose. And maybe once I'd get a wraith, but then it would be at the end of the game and there would be no one to kill.
Right.
So.
And that is part of the problem. I think it would have been, although we would still be probably bitching and complaining about it, I could at least admit it would give props if we could choose what we're buying.
Yes.
Okay? They're asking you to pay real money. Okay, this isn't like if it was only the credit system. If there was only credit system and it was random, I could say, you know what, fine. It's free. And I can't complain. But here, if I'm going to pay you money, I should know what the fuck I'm paying for.
Yeah. And if it wasn't such a big deal, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If it wasn't such, if it didn't have so much influence on my experience, I'd be fine with it. For example, again, going back to Mass Effect, sure, they had lottery systems with their boxes where in co-op multiplayer you could get a bunch of random items, including consumables and guns and different characters and things. But it was aside from the main story, and it had little bearing on anything. So.
Right, and like in Metal Gear Solid 5, you can do it, but you absolutely have no need to do their microtransactions. There's literally nothing. And they had a prime opportunity because you have to build weapons, and it's a timer. So you'd think if 343 had that system and there was a timer, you could pay to have the timer go faster. Metal Gear Solid 5 didn't do that. They said no. If you really have that hard of a time, pay us $12 and you can expand your base for free, or not for free, for this much, and you're good. And I think that system works. I think it's not as evasive as some systems.
Yeah.
And 343 didn't make it like you have to pay microtransactions in order to have a good time. It was fun. It is fun. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to get a vehicle, you're going to have to either play 4 hours, 5 hours of gameplay for two gold packs for the chance of getting a vehicle, or you could just pay $10, $20 and have like 8 gold packs, and you'll have way more of a chance, and you'll be hours ahead of everyone else, and you'll probably get a couple armor sets out of it. And that's my problem.
If you try to enjoy Halo 5 without paying in microtransactions, you're gonna have a bad time.
And I think we're getting rid of this game.
Yep.
We are.
It is officially gone.
And also, we went to a little mom and pop store.
Yep.
And there was this action figure of Locke. It was an action figure. And it comes with fucking requisition packs!
Oh, God.
It's a $40... I think it was like $34.
$35.
$35 plus tax, so what? About $40.
Yeah.
About $40 fucking action figure that gives you requisition packs, comes with DLC.
And it's probably exclusive
to that action figure. I can't confirm that, but I would have no fucking doubts. It's utterly fucking ridiculous. That's utterly fucking ridiculous. That you're gonna sell requisition packs on an action figure. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's not as bad as getting XP boosts on Mountain Dew and Doritos back in Halo 4 and Halo 3.
Yeah.
But, dear God, that's fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid. So, what's your final verdict for the game?
Out of 10?
Out of 10. The entire thing as a whole.
Okay, well...
Actually, wait, first, what's your gameplay ranking?
Gameplay ranking, okay.
Because that's just gameplay. Like, as you play, how much fun is the game?
I'm gonna give it a 4 as well.
You're gonna give that a 4?
Again,
that
just like
includes campaign. That includes the campaign gameplay as well.
Yeah, so that it's about a 4.
So about a 4. I honestly would give it a 5 because it's average. It's an average Halo game, but it leans more to that Call of Duty standpoint and kind of deviates a little bit away from Halo, and that's why I give it a 5. It's average gameplay. If you're looking for the average Halo experience, this will probably do it.
So between us, it's a 4.5.
Yeah, between us, it's a 4.5. A rating. So all in all, campaign included, multiplayer included, the microtransactions, the poor shit story, the multiple, no forge, no split screen, all the things that have been missing in the game. What would you give it as a whole?
Okay, well, before I give you that, I'm gonna tell you that when I gave it both a 4 for gameplay and a 4 for multiplayer and everything, and 4 for story and all that, I was looking past all the problems.
Right.
When put together and we combine the microtransactions and the crap story and all this, I give it a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah, and of course, if you want to see my verdict, you have to see the full review because this is just our conversation. And so the full review will go more in depth on the detail. We'll show you more gameplay. We'll show you more of the problems that I've run into in my about 24 hours of gameplay total on the game. Actually, no, it's about 35 now, thanks to
Of course, his opinion doesn't matter. Only mine does.
Yes,
so.
only his does. But if you do want to see my opinion, you think it's valid, be sure to like and subscribe. We're going to be posting more reviews, going to be posting more videos, and of course, look out for our Fallout 4 review. Links down in the description below to see gameplay, our stream on Twitch, kind of trying to play, and hopefully we'll see you on the show, kind of trying to review.
Oh, there's the middle finger right there.